correctly, as he is now in the correct room on Discord, which is the biggest point. As long as you're in the right room, you can hear what the team is talking about, you can make sure that you're banning the right champions, and it looks like he also has his mic up and working as well. So, great stuff. And so we are going to be on to game number 3. Once again, resetting a little bit. It's full new picks and bans. Thank you, Rack, for sharing a little bit about your history. I love hearing about your summer school time, because to me, that's just a fascinating, different world that I have no experience with whatsoever. Just in case you weren't aware, it is Team Miscommunication versus Team Peaches.
So far, we're seeing at least a couple of the same bands coming out for the time being. It'll be interesting to see. Sometimes whenever remakes happen, it's always interesting to see if any sort of hate bands come up this time, or if you see generally about the same thing going down in terms of team compositions.
Well, and the interesting thing is that according to Team Miscommunication, there was a lot of confusion onto who was picking what, and so even if champions are banned against them, like the Zed that was initially picked up in the first place, it would be really interesting if that was one of those champions that wasn't meant to be picked up because it was like, oh, I wanted to go in the mid lane, so I'm going to have to pick something different instead. So we'll see how Tyrone responds in turn, as he's going to have to pick a slightly different champion, whether for another lane or for the mid lane. Apparently he did buy enough champions to be able to play effectively. So let's see how things go. As Illusion is that third and final ban. No surprise, as... hold on a second.
Some possible surprise.
Wasn't it Raylick that played Lucian game 1?
I thought it was.
So I don't know if Tyrone was supposed to pick that or if he's banning it to make sure that Peaches isn't able to pick it up. Either way, it seems like the game is continuing on as Akali banned away by Peaches, making sure to, again, pinch that mid lane pool. Talked about last time that Lighthouse was a very effective mid laner. He's really strong on Anivia, but he's got plenty of other champions up his sleeve to pull out as well. And maybe Peaches is just focused on making sure that that one lane is guaranteed to be a winning lane.
Yeah, you can definitely see that. Sometimes you see people, just take out the one thing they don't want to play against, or if their champion has a particularly hard counter. Though sometimes, if you know that you have a very wide pool, or you know that as long as you can take out your counter picks, you can really snowball in, you can really just pinch it and see what happens in terms of counter picks and bans.
So Malphite, that first pick by Tyrone, really wanting to focus on those group ganking 5v5s where you're going to be able to get a huge knockup. And Peaches they may be trading up the lanes and roles, as Sweet Peaches is now going to be grabbing the Ahri, and you have Ketskiln on the Morgana, probably for the supportive role, but another champion that could go mid. I just can't think of Ahri going anywhere besides the mid lane.
I have occasionally seen a support Ahri. I'm not going to comment on the effectiveness of it, just that I've seen it.
You've got the charm. Yeah, that's about it.
Yep, that's pretty much the gist of it.
Charm and run away. All right, no free names. Grabbing the Thresh bottom lane, looking for more CC, and then Aether Arising on the Kayn as well. Probably going to trade that to Jimmy Jar, as that seems to be his #1 favorite champion, unless Jimmy Jar says, you know what, I'll take a different role. We'll let that Aether Rising play the Kayn instead, as we are into the second ban phase. But Vitrillion picking up Cannon once again. That's a heavy amount of AP for the side of Peaches so far.
Seeing Kaisa actually banned this time. To my knowledge, she was played both of the last 2 games.
So, yeah, Foul Adjuster brings up an excellent point. One game, Catinator attempted to play ADC Ahri.
I noticed you used the word attempted in this case. Does that indicate how it went?
That indicates about how well it went. So I have a feeling he's not going to be doing good this game. I do think that is going to be Peaches playing it in the mid lane, but I could be wrong. As a caster, you hedge your bets, and that's one that I'm going to hedge my bet on and wait to see what those final picks are. The ADC pool for both sides getting pinched. You got the Kaisa, the Jhin, the Draven banned away. I wouldn't be surprised if another ADC gets banned, really pinch that pool down, maybe take away the Caitlyn. Oh, the Blitzcrank. I was not expecting that. Okay, so with the ADC pool, very quickly before they pick it, because I know the Catinator is probably going to grab one, what ADCs would you like to see on these teams?
Ezreal. 100%, I would like to see Ezreal on blue team. With Thresh, Malphite, and Kayn, Ezreal would be a fantastic pick, especially to give him the flexibility to escape away from Morgana.
High
I also
mobility.
love Ezreal. I just love him so much.
And he would be effective at hopping over the wall once Talia throws that down. You can't pinch a champion that can hop over a wall. And Kayn is also a pretty good counter to that Talia wall because he can just walk right through it. He says, I am not concerned with terrain. See what Rayleigh decides to pick up. I also would think that a Tristana may be a good pick. Very quick attack speed. Very good at also turret taking because their siege is...
Yep. We've got what is almost certainly not, but certainly suggests itself to be the all-magic composition. And we've got something that does not lend itself to see a traditional ranged AD carry. So we've already seen some fairly non-conventional team compositions here right now. There's the Tristana we're talking about. It is. I really do enjoy things like that.
So I gotta wait the 60 seconds to make sure that no spells are gonna shift around, but I can make a couple quick guesses as to if Echo goes mid and it's a Yasuo Malphite bottom lane, Thresh top lane, because I highly doubt that it's a Thresh Yasuo. I mean, they synergize moderately when you've got the Flay from the Thresh, but the ult from Malphite seems to be far more impactful. Before I see the spells, if I had to guess, Xeno's not playing the Thresh, so I'm going to guess that it's going to be Malphite in the top lane, Thresh Yasuo in the bottom lane, and Echo in the mid. We'll wait to see once the spells come through. But yeah, full magic besides that Tristana from the side of Team Peaches. Could you even consider this to be a protect the AD carry comp? Because I don't think so.
It doesn't really suggest itself to me. Now you have so much other threat from a lot of these casters. I mean, Kennen is on top of the team. Morgana is on top of the team. Ahri is dashing in and out around. It could be that there's so many things happening that they might not necessarily have time to get to Tristana, as long as they're the aggressors. But, I mean, against Malphite, against Thresh, against Yasuo, Kayn, they're really, I don't feel like they are naturally the aggressors in this fight, and I feel like that's going to make it very, very difficult for them to actually keep Tristana safe.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. All right, let's roll through the players and their champions. I'll roll through Miscommunication if you want to roll through Team Peaches. And I'm going to make my best educated guess. I'm not positive, but my best educated guess. For the side of Miscommunication, we've got Uncle 420 Tyrone blazing every day, taking the Malphite in the top lane. No free names on the Thresh. Bottom lane, carry. Aether Arising on the Kayn jungle. Jammy Jar with the Yasuo support bottom lane. And Rayleigh on the Echo in the mid lane. But I could be completely wrong. Don't hold me to that. Give it up for Team Peaches.
Team Peaches, we've got what appears to be a Kennen up in the top lane. In the mid lane, we see Ahri, jungle Talia, and we've got a Morgana Tristana. I wouldn't say anything is inherently off meta there. The team composition is heavily magical and not very defensive. We don't really have a traditional tank in this lineup.
Well, that's what I was going to say, is that, you know, when you don't have that frontline tank, it's going to make things a little bit more difficult. However, they do have both a massive amount of escape potential with the Ahri, the Kennen, the Talia, the Tristana, and they have a lot of CC that makes engaging on them very difficult. If Malphite tries to ult, Morgana lands a beautiful Dark Binding, or Ahri lands a Charm, or Kennen gets a stun, or Talia gets a throwback. There's a lot of opportunities. Even Tristana's ult can reset those fights. So again, it's kind of a bit more of your meta, tanks in the front line, carries in the back, a couple divers thrown in, the Echo and the Kayn. But for the side of Peaches, it really is that skirmish heavy roam, lots of potential to win the 3v3 styles of fights with that CC that they could layer effectively.
Yeah, and it's important to remark, I mean, we just had our very last game. We noted that that Team Teemo had an overwhelmingly heavy AD composition, but they were still able to really push before a whole lot of armor items were able to be obtained. They had a nice continuous push up in that top lane to roll forward for it. So there's not necessarily anything wrong with being lopsided as long as you are the one that can be making the power plays, as long as you're the one that's able to catch them on the back foot and continue to push them.
Right, and that's what the thing is, Thorn Mail, especially in that last game, is an item that's very costly, not going to be your first item in the game, and even though Braum was starting to get a pretty decent amount of armor, it was just a bit too early at that 20-minute mark. Before we get into this game, I do got to ask, going back to that last game, when do you think Timo Hat made the call and said, we're just going to push for the end? Was it after they won that top lane fight? Was it once they got to the Nexus turrets and Shelly got a second slam on the second Nexus turret? Where do you think that call was to say, you know what, let's just go for the finish?
It started out, the actual decision to push obviously started at Rift Hill. They had a great fight. They managed to catch. They wiped everyone. And to my knowledge, I don't think they lost anybody. It was a full, clean ace. They pushed in. They took the inhib. Everybody was still down. They managed to keep people scattered. I think at that point, they decided to say, let's go for the inhib turrets. Or, let's go for the Nexus turrets, rather. Once those two were pushed down, it looked like some of them were starting to pull back. It looked like they'd said, we got our work done. We did everything we needed to. Let's pull back. And then they managed to get another pick. And as soon as they got that other pick, we saw an immediate turnaround. I think that's when they said, no, forget about it. Let's just end this. Let's go for it right now and win.
So kind of one of those things of don't be afraid to follow your team if most of your team is content with continuing to kind of keep pushing forward and keep moving into the enemy team base. Because that's one of those things, especially in kind of ranked games and stuff, that you have to deal with is teams that aren't necessarily ready to go all in on that. And so being able to keep that sort of stuff in mind and learn from watching these games might give you a little bit of a hint as to what to try in your own games. As it is, game number 3, Miscommunication versus Team Peaches. Excited to bring that to you. And of course, we got the awesome KDA Ari skin coming through. Sweet Peaches grabbing that. And we might see an invade on the top side. 3 members for Miscommunication are already headed up here. Got to keep an eye on which side. Lighthouse is a Tristana. All right, so if you ever see Lighthouse in a game, that's his normal league name. This is on a different account, is Lord Reeves, and he loves his invades. So usually when he's on a team, he calls for an invade for the rest of the team to go in. This game, not going to be that way, which I think is actually wise when you could be invading into a death sentence from that Thresh at level 1. That's not necessarily the best decision.
Definitely so. In fact, I would really like to see blue team invade right now. If they force Ari to take a charm or something like that, they force Tristana to take rock and jump. Basically, if you force anybody to take a really weird level 1, Kennen with his E or something like that, that immediately gives advantage away to their team. And worst case scenario, they have to walk away.
All right, so let's see if my predictions are correct when it comes to the bottom lane, whether or not, because it is that Malphite in the top lane. So, an Echo in the mid. Okay, so I was right. I feel pretty good about myself. My casting abilities are not terrible. They're at least moderately okay. And so Thresh, Yasuo, talk a little bit about that, especially against that magical shield by Morgana that can completely counter all the CC from Thresh.
It's going to be it's really going to be a skill matchup, and this is going to put tremendous pressure on Morgana. If Morgana throws out good shields, if Morgana is able to effectively put them onto Tristana, especially in time to prevent the flay, to prevent the knockup, Yasuo is going to have a lot of trouble getting work done, because I don't think they really have enough magic damage to pop the shield afterwards. They won't have any way of knocking her up, and if she's not able to be crowd controlled, she is going to deal a huge amount of damage to him from safety. Meanwhile, if she's not able to do the shield, if she does it early, if she doesn't quite get it off in time to the point that that Tristana is already knocked up, it changes the ball game entirely.
Well, that's the thing, that I want to see some intelligent plays when it comes to that, because I've seen some people be able to pull things off where they actually wait for Thresh to land the initial hook, because more often than not, Threshers will want to dive when they land the death sentence, and then you black shield afterwards so that the flay CC doesn't come through and your ADC can just start spamming away on Thresh as soon as he dives in. The other thing to keep an eye on is that tornado from Yasuo, because you've got to stop that. Otherwise, you could be CC'd in the air so long that it doesn't really matter where your ADC is CC'd. He's going to be taking a lot of damage. Aether Rising hit by Catinator on that top side, forced to run underneath that top lane turret. Don't think Cat level 2 is willing to dive this. He is against level 3 Malphite as Tyrone comes in, slapping. It's a rock mage versus a rock. We'll see which one wins as the Ignite comes down. The flash forward from Tyrone. He wants to get the kill. The Ignite's ticking so slow. Can he get one more E down? He does. First blood to Tyrone on the Malphite. He's got double buffs. A little bit of damage onto Vetrilian, who flashes into the Echo stun. This is not going to be good for him. He's going to go down as well. 2 kills already for Miscommunication as Jammy Jar forced to retreat on the bottom side as Lighthouse gets some pretty good damage in response to the trade.
Absolutely great fight going on there. Talia looks like stayed just a little bit too long. It was great poke. It really, really was. And the red buff there was able to do a good amount of damage to Malphite, but she stuck around just a little bit too long, ended up getting caught.
Sweet Peaches in that mid lane, 13 farms to 26 by Echo. So not only did he get a good running through the jungle to be able to pick up an assist, but Ari's also losing out a little bit when it comes to the farm lane. The Flay pushing Morgana into the enemy team. She's going to have to flash to get out of that one. The Black Shield keeps her alive for now, but it wasn't really that effective as Tristana's going to have to hop away. And Team Peaches pushed way back in that bottom side. Kane here also ready for a gank. Don't think that's going to happen as their bottom lane is playing super safe at this point.
Yeah, this is going to be a fairly difficult lane for Ketskiln. I happen to know that she's a very new player. I think she's only been playing for a few weeks. Ooh, here we go. Kane on Talia, and Talia is stuck in the... Kane is going on doing a little bit of damage, and we are seeing fights coming from both directions. Tristana forced to jump out. Thresh is on top of her. Kane, meanwhile, chases off Talia. There is the flash, and as the bottom lane manages to step out, it is going to be Talia. Kane is forced to turn around because Ari is there to support. He looks like he really wants it, but Thresh is not quite able to get that hook off, and people are going to safely disengage from each other.
Yeah, the camera switched away to the top side because apparently that was more interesting than the bottom side as Echo wants to re-engage, flashing the wall, wanted to chase in onto Cat near. Sweet Peaches gets a little bit of damage from the Q. Foxfire also going to poke down the Echo a little bit, but it's still early on in the game. Ari's not going to have that much damage when it comes to items. Ketskiln going to be just recalling. And actually, when you talk about newer players, especially when paired against or with really experienced players, I gotta say Morgana's a pretty good choice if you're new to the game, simply because a lot of her spells are so far ranged, and you have that Black Shield to kind of disengage the fight and just walk away. So a pretty good choice if you're looking for some, newer, if you're new to the game and are looking for some sports to pick up, Morgana's a pretty decent one.
Definitely so. Not a huge amount of skill shots. Mechanically, on paper, she generally... Echo being extremely aggressive here, jumping into that middle tower. There's the Ignite going to light. It's going to be a double down there into the tower.
Kill for kill. I love that throwback from the Talia, making sure that Echo stays inside that turret range. He's going to be hit. He's going to go down as Kane wants to gank this bottom side. Thresh flashes forward. He's going to get the death sentence and the flay. Morgana going to go down. Doesn't matter how good you are at the game. 9 times out of 10, that's still going to be a kill. And Kane with this really early aggression on that bottom side, level 4 already. Tristana is hooked, can't quite get the jump out. Lighthouse maybe going down, flashes underneath the turret, a sliver of health trying to escape. And no, for names goes forward, he gets it with the auto attack, but trades his life in turn. So Tristana will be able to pick up one and a BF sword to start. It is the 0-0 and 2 Yasuo though who gets free damage on that bottom lane turret.
A lot of double downs and a lot of dives happening so far. We're at 6 minutes. We've already seen 4 blue players in the enemy jungle, all 4 showing up. And what a great game it is when you have the entire team knowing that they have your back, that they are going to be responding to those fights and those calls. It really can promote a lot of trust and a lot of synergy in the team. We're seeing 3-man ganks down on bottom, and that's going to be good. Being able to shut down Tristana, their only source of really physical damage, is going to be very, very big for blue team if they're able to do that.
Malphite in that top lane has been really struggling, down about 20 CS against Vetrilian's Kennen. That's what you get when you're a melee into a range, as Ketskiln finds the Dark Binding onto the can on that bottom side, just going to push him off. But really good positioning with that is still allowing Tristana to pick up a little bit of farm. She's down about 10. Not the end of the world, but if that continues, could stack up. Already getting chunked out in the mid lane, down to about half. Level 6 though, so should be still a little bit safe if Echo decides to go all in.
It was a great engagement. It was a great trap. There was no ward down there in that top brush. As soon as he threw his convergence, that dome that you see, Ari has to make sure that she's not in.
Tyrone with almost no mana goes in, drops the Ignite on Ventrilian. He's been stunned up, the Ignite takes away. He just stands there, an immovable rock as the cannon will burn down. However, Rock Throw will take Malphite out as Catinator comes in for the gank. Will be picking up a second kill. Sweet Peach is just trying to find the farm clear in the mid lane. Has been able to heal back up a bit. Back up to that half as Raylick was dropping her health earlier. But good play on that top side from Malphite just to see his opportunity to get a kill.
Yeah. So far, if we're looking at CS, Kennen has an overwhelming advantage against Malphite, which isn't really surprising. Kennen has a lot of poke potential. He doesn't have to manage a mana pool, you know, any of that. Malphite really doesn't. Interesting to note is that Malphite is building what appears to be just about full armor here.
Yeah, going for that Sunfire, which as Sweet Peaches gets ganked by Echo underneath the turret. She can't drop the charm, but she's got plenty of damage and a turret shot as well. No chance for him to ult backwards, but she's being hit by the minions. No, the caster minions too much. Will make that a 1-for-1 trade underneath the mid lane turret.
A lot of double downs. We've been seeing some tremendous aggression from Echo diving into that.
In that bottom lane, Aether Rising once again focusing this bottom side. He's been down here several times already. No free names. Lands the hook onto the Morgana. Decides to go in underneath the turret. Dropping the ult, but the Morgana flashes safety for now. The turret's still alive. Shooting away onto the Yasuo. Might be enough to take him out as Lighthouse is able to clear 2 and moves on to Aether Rising as well. Catinator shows up to help for the game. And it's a triple kill in that bottom side. Team Peaches gets a shutdown on the Kayn as well. So, Ket's Kiln dies, but it is so worth it.
Absolutely 100% worth it. Catinator showed up at the perfect time right after they'd committed. It was a fantastic ult to give them no line of retreat back. They had no choice but to go but forward, and they just didn't have the damage or the health to be able to get anything out of it. Really turned the fight around.
8 kills to 8, even in gold. This is one of those games that is actually so far not only amazing to cast, but really shows that even when there's such a disparity between players' skills. I mean, Raylick, according to his game, is saying that he is a master-tiered player. And Ket's Kiln is so new to the game. And yet, if you can get these games to be fairly even when it comes to overall average skill, you can still find some amazing plays. And we'll see if Raylick wants to dive underneath the turret once again. He does have his ultimate available. Aether Rising going into the top lane, looking for the cannon, but Trillian's just popped as Malphite once again ults and is able to pick up a kill. Again, though, down 30 farm. He has ways to get back.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for him, though that definitely helps. Good damage from Kalai going on, but Kayn is already on top of her now. There's the flash to stick on. She shoved him back off. There's her flash going as well. She's trying to stay out of the way, manages to pick one off. Malphite trades off one to...
Yeah, beautiful play. I love trying to use the Rift Herald as well to help get some of the damage down. Wind Wall used by Jimmy Jam in the bottom side, but he's having to run away as Morgana's ult just pushes him off of that turret. It's extremely low. Could be first turret of the game, but they also needs to be able to pick off at least the Tristana to be able to shove that in and pick that up. A Sweet Peach is in the mid lane, ignited by the Echo. Don't think she's going to be able to escape from this time as he predicts her movement and ults backwards, getting himself a third kill of the game.
Really just great play from Echo going on and over and over. You can see that while Kennen is winning the top lane fairly consistently here, you'll notice that it's almost a complete turnaround the mid lane. Echo, 95 CS to Ari's 41. Diving her into the tower just about every opportunity he gets. He's really shutting her down and really preventing her from getting...
Ooh, Morgana knocked up. She wasn't able to use that spell shield to protect herself, taking a charge shot as well. Now spell shields, but it's going to be too late as Kayn comes to the bottom lane once again, ganking as the Talia in that mid lane. Going to be able to find the stun and the shutdown onto the Echo, maybe even saving the mid lane turret. And in that bottom lane, looked like after the Kayn got the kill on Morgana, Tristana was able to escape after burning the heal. However, will probably abandon this bottom lane turret, even using the ult to push Kayn away, delaying them a little bit longer. Talia trying to come in for the gank. They're not going to be able to save the turret, but they might be able to get a kill on no free names. Catinator with a beautiful position, doesn't find the kill. Jimmy Jar looking for the kill, finds Talia. Kayn using the ultimate as well. Lighthouse flashing, trying to get underneath his own turret, but the exhaust will mean he cannot get there, and all 3 members of Miscommunication walk away.
That was a great push, and that's one thing the blue team really has a lot of potential, and they really have a lot of ability to catch up. They are definitely very much the aggressors in this game. For the most part, I would say that they are generally all-inners. Malphite's kind of an all-in. There's another kill up in the top lane. Malphite on Kennen this time.
Yeah, one of the things that I like about this Malphite in the top lane is that he's not what you would normally think, but he kind of like a Garen in that he doesn't have to be crazy far ahead as long as he has that ultimate. And again, towards the mid to late game can kind of make those setup plays with that ultimate for the rest of the team to go in. That's really Malphite's key. He is a our team knockup champion, kind of like Vigar. He's got one main trick up his sleeve, and you don't have to have a massive amount of farm to be able to do that.
Yeah, as long as you can land it, you will get worked. There is Echo on Ahri again, though I think he might have bit off a little bit more than he can chew. He's forced to throw out the ult, but Kayn is here, and Kayn's damage is tremendous. He's going to be able to take down Talia. Echo's going to be able to walk away. And that is going to be another 1-for-0 trade in favor of blue.
Yeah, this Miscommunication team starting to really show some prestige on these champions. Trillion trying to gank into the mid lane, finds the stun onto the Kayn, but flashing underneath the turret. Echo goes forward. He's going to be dropped. Oh no, he doesn't. He is finished off by the turret shot, but was able to take out Kennen. Aether Rising taking a little bit of damage. Lighthouse hopping over the wall, wants the engage. It has the red buff as well. Shuts down the Kayn. Plenty of gold back. Has been able to sneak into having 4 kills, so is actually starting to get in a pretty good position to carry this team if things continue.
In a lot of ways, the kills on red team are going exactly to who you'd want them to go to. They're going on to Tristana, who is going to probably be your primary carry, and they're going to Delia, who basically has to throw herself into the fight. But Morgana isn't getting any kills, which, you know, she's a support. That's not the end of the world. But Kennen isn't getting any. And while he is going on hit, so he doesn't necessarily have to jump in, I would still like to see him get some, be able to give him some survivability. He's going to be another very good source of damage.
I love that wind wall from the Yasuo. There wasn't too much of a scariness for Miscommunication, but still being able to show that off. One of the things it does is it causes the enemy players to rethink. Every time Morgana wants to throw that Dark Binding out, she then has to take that extra second of hesitation. Is Yasuo going to use that wind wall to just deflect it, or is this something that I want to throw anyway? And sometimes it is. Sometimes you want to throw it, force him to use that wind wall so that he doesn't have it at a later time. But I've had plenty of times myself where I just hesitate to engage far too long. The Drake is going to go over. Wind Drake to Miscommunication is Kennen ganks the mid lane, but he's going to be jumped upon himself. Tries to start the ultimate, but it's way too late. Ahri flashes forward, gets the charm down. The Q's going to do a pretty good amount of damage, but Rayleigh still has plenty of health. Now Sweet Peaches uses 2 and 3 moves of the ultimate. Talia trying to ult herself to safety, doesn't get out with a Malphite ultimate. That is going to be the shutdown on the Talia.
Great use of the Malphite ult there. She was just about to get away. Malphite came in, absolutely stopped it at the last second. That was a very critical.
So is Malphite taking revenge for Talia throwing rocks everywhere? He's like, those are my brethren. How dare you throw them all over the map and use them to kill other people? Oh, it's a nice Thresh hook. Is going to fillet Sweet Peaches right back into 3 members. They're underneath the turret. They're not going to be phased, though. They're just going to turn right back onto it, start beating it up. It's already down underneath the 5th health and should be able to finish it off unless Kennen can get here in time to stop it. And it looks like they will take it. Kennen just looking for the initial clear of the minions.
This is an unfortunate aspect of this Kennen build. Granted, on-hit Kennen can be effective, but I almost feel like in a game like this, where, you know, basically the only 2 tanks are for the most part building overwhelming armor. Speaking of Echo, is just going to be able to take down Morgana, though she had thrown out the ultimate there. You almost want that burst potential. You almost want to be able to absolutely burst down Kayn and Echo and Yas. And while it is nice to see a little bit more physical damage in the roster, I almost want to be able to just see the ult comp on red team's side.
You just got to pair everything in the correct position, and where things were fairly even early on, it has grown to a pretty decent lead for Miscommunication. 6,000 gold up, and that Wind Drake, and now they have that Rift Herald to throw wherever it is that they want. Shelly going to be able to do some extra damage onto turrets. The Lighthouse is going to be 1v1 against the Yasuo. He hasn't used the wind wall yet. Grenade will pop, trying to give the... Oh my! The play was so good from Jammy Jar. Waits for Tristana to jump before throwing out the tornado to stop her mid-flight, and it will still be traded though 1-for-1 as Katnir shows up in time.
Perfect timing, and you'll notice that red did not actually have a ward down in that bush when she walked past it. And in this case, especially when you're Tristana against a team full of assassins and hooks, you really have to be very, very careful about how far you're stepping out. You really can't overstep yourself against this team, more so than any.
Sweet Peach is just trying to wave clear in the mid lane. She does have plenty of wave clear, but Vetrillion may be a minion that gets wave clear. He finds the stun onto Kayn. Kayn's going to get the ultimate. The charm from Ahri is nice onto Rayleigh, but it's still not going to be enough. The Thresh hook going to miss her, but that is the ultimate down from Ahri once again. Catinator trying to come to the mid lane, helping to clear these minions out. The wave clear on the side of Team Peaches is really good, but this is where it's going to matter because they're pushed back to the inhibitor turrets.
Yeah, we're really seeing an unfortunate circumstance here. In most cases, blue team does have a CS lead. We see that Echo almost has 100 CS more than Ahri. Ahri hasn't been able to finish a major item yet at the 18-minute mark. It's going to make her very, very hard to beat.
Tyrone in that top lane running away. We've got the Catinator doing what he can on that Talia, but forced to flash back underneath the turret. The Thresh jumps forward, flashes the Talia back, is going to find the hook as well. Vitrillion's doing as much damage he can from underneath the turret. They've taken out the Thresh. Echo wants to continue the gank. Vitrillion goes in. He's able to pick up 1/8 or a Rising. Exhausted, slowed down, can't get all the way onto the Morgana. Tristana jumps and should be able to pick up one onto the Kayn with that turret shot. Could start to reset. The grenade pops. That is Tristana picking up one, but they're going to focus on the wave clear instead, and they're going to take the small team fight that they were able to win, clear the Shelly as well. They lose the bottom lane second tier turret, and now are once again back on defending as Rayleigh pushes the mid lane.
Right now, Rayleigh definitely being a very threatening player, followed up by Kayn. They have this huge dive and escape potential, and it's really making it difficult. Red team, again, does have some good potential at playing defensive against it, but they're so mobile, it's so difficult to lock them down, that if they're going to get anything done, they're really going to have to be able to crowd control these people.
We're at the 20-minute mark, but really, when is it that this Tristana is going to come online? Because she is a champion that can, when she's got a handful of items, she's got the Stormracer finished, but a handful of items underneath her belt, really start to take over a game. Vitrillion, though, maybe being popped by Rayleigh before he's able to get out, and is finished off. This Echo is just completely unstoppable at this point, but he may finally be stoppable. Caster Curse! Every time you try to say something like that, you get proved wrong. Sweet Peaches gets a massive amount of shutdown gold.
Just a little bit overstepping. Got one kill, looked like a decent opportunity, but Ahri came in on the side, and that was the end of that. As far as Tristana goes, I would like to see her finish maybe one more damage item. Granted, she's going to get a little bit of a power spike when she finishes that revolver. That is a good item for her. Don't get me wrong. But I would maybe like to see one more damage item before she really comes into it.
Heads Kiln trying to keep the Ahri safe, is able to step up in time. Ahri was forced to use the flash, but was able to live, and that's one of the key factors at this point in the game, is some of these fights, we're starting to see Team Peaches not only be able to get a few kills back from themselves, but also be able to actually get out of fights that are bad, though Morgana gonna prove me wrong as always, and immediately die. Nice flash from Kennen. The Malphite ganking onto Lighthouse, but he can't find the kill. The hook goes good onto Kennen, but no free names, has no damage to follow it up, so he's gonna be burned down. Lighthouse goes for it. The wind wall from the Yasuo was perfectly placed, avoids a ton of that damage from Peaches that they were trying to throw out, so they're back to wave clear duty. Something to note that I didn't even think about is how everyone is ranged on the side of Team Peaches, and that wind wall can just shut down fights like that.
That wind wall blocked so many enemy shots. I think it's actually an honorary backup tank for the team at this point.
Just able to clear every time we want to fight, and of course, we got that camera randomly jumping onto Thresh for no reason as he's Jay chilling in a brush. Ocean Drake is the next Drake. It's still heavily in Miscommunication's favor if they decide to go for it. They've got overall map pressure as Rayleigh continues to be a force to be reckoned with, and they have the most wards on the map. If you switch over the fog, I think it's F2. Yeah, there you go. There's almost no vision that Team Peaches has outside of their own base.
And that's dangerous against a comp like this, when they have, you know, Kayn, when they have Yasuo, when they have Echo. Champions that do very, very well in these picking scenarios. You really need to have vision. They're getting some up now, but they're going to have to be very careful to only fight where they have vision, because as soon as Kayn comes in from over a wall they don't see, as soon as Echo is able to drop down that parallel convergence, that bubble, they are going to really, really struggle to actually turn that fight around.
This is something for players to think about as we're potentially getting into game, or not potentially, but we are going to get into game 4 after this one, is what type of composition do you want to run? Because if you're going to run one of these squishier compositions, you need to play to the advantages. And that's a question I have for you, Rock. Where did things go wrong for Team Peaches? Because they have what we talked about as being a skirmishing team. They should have been able to do better in the laning phase, and yet they seem to struggle there, and since then it's just been a snowball for Miscommunication.
two major issues. First off, Malphite ult going on to Tristana, trying to do some damage there, not quite enough, though Echo looks like he wants a piece of it. He is going in. It's Echo versus 4 people. He's forced to jump out, but he has made Morgana throw out her ult.
Those are the two issues for Team Peaches, was Miscommunication dives way too aggressively.
Great Yasuo ult. He is going to follow that up. Morgana already taken down. Kayn is on top of Ahri, and as Ahri jumps away, she is very unsupported right now. That's going to be Ahri has managed to jump back into a couple of teammates, and they have managed to take care of it. But we're still looking at 3v3 right now. Thresh flashing onto Tristana. Tristana is able to jump away, but Yasuo is looking for her. Can he catch her? There's the wind wall to keep her safe.
Oh, she flashes underneath the turret. Jammy Jar going to trade his life over with the turret as well. But Trillian able to clear the minions on the top side, make sure that Rayleigh can't have an easy time clearing that up as Sweet Peaches continues to farm away at the mid lane. And once again, Team Peaches, despite everything going so poorly for them, overall continue to hold. They may lose the top lane turret, Echo getting it, but then we're going to be able to shut him down. He ults himself backwards, goes right back in. A great death sentence from the Thresh to guarantee the kill onto Ahri, so she drops Rayleigh running away on that top side. They get one back, and they finally start to break up in the base. Team Peaches losing that top lane inhibitor turret.
Jumping back to what you were asking about, really two things happened in the laning phase. In the mid lane, Echo was able to continuously hit Ahri again and again and again, and I don't think there was really a lot of support that was able to be offered to him. Down in the bottom lane, we saw a lot of 3-man ganks. We saw him over and over and over again. They knocked out towers, and if you're a pick team, knocking out the enemy towers is critical because it gives you that much more area that you can roam. If they want to be able to farm against you, they've got to come out, and they don't have any of that safety that they can offer by being up against a tower. That's where things really started to be troublesome for them.
31 kills to 21, a grand total of 10,000 gold lead for Miscommunication. This is where you got to start talking about those insurmountable leads. I like that Peaches was able to get a little bit of ward coverage in the Baron pit, but it is going to be cleared up. And Miscommunication doesn't need to take the Baron. They're winning these team fights. They're winning the map overall, as Kane's going to try to find these two. He pops Kennen! Wow! That is a massive amount of damage, but Trillian's already gone. Malphite, flash ulties in, unstoppable force, forces Lighthouse to hop away. He will be able to survive, but has to heal at the fountain. They only get one, trying to get that baited fight inside the jungle. See if they decide to engage over the wall. Morgana going to be hooked up. No free names, just going for the fillet. Decides not to go too aggressively. But again, there is going to be those minions slowly pushing that top side.
Yeah, they are without the Morgana ult for at least the foreseeable future. All of them are still up. They're not going to have Kennen back for a little bit here, and they are split pushing all over. There they go, jumping on Morgana. Morgana taken out. Thresh is going to just barely go down to that turret there. So it is going to be another 1-for-1 trade.
And this is still nice from Peaches. They're slowly losing, but they are also defending. And if one of their members can really come online to really set the pace going in the opposite direction, they have a small chance. They're going to lose that mid lane inhibitor. Jimmy Jar continuing to dash through these minions, looking for an opportunity to make a play. He doesn't have the ultimate. You got to keep an eye on the Echo ultimate. That's the one that's going to matter, as he's going to get dumped on by the Kennen. Pop a Trillion, drop him extremely low, flashes to the side to avoid that Echo ultimate. Sweet Peaches, a little bit of trouble trying to get some damage down, but the top lane inhibitor will be falling. First inhibitor of the game to Miscommunication as they just continue to ramp up this pressure bit by bit. They're focusing on that mid lane inhibitor. Malphite ultimate, that should be Tristana going down. She's going to burn, be finished off. Malphite going to be dropped. Ahri getting a nice trade of kills as Rayleigh trying to escape through the mid lane. Should be able to walk away 9-5-5, having done so much to help this team get to this position.
Absolutely, there's going to be the pick there. July taking down Echo. It's Caster's Curse all over. Anytime you talk about someone, they're guaranteed to get taken out.
Anytime. You try to compliment a player, they just die. Wait. So if I want this to be an in-game, or a more even game, let's see here. Yasuo's doing fantastically. He just can't be touched. And this Thresh, what a god. No one can kill this Thresh. I just gotta wait. It's not necessarily surprising that we're seeing some resistance happening now that they've managed to get to the enemy turrets, now that they've managed to get to the enemy base. In particular, since they are a pick team, once they're lined up on turrets, once everyone knows where they are, and once they're against such a heavily defensive team as Red Team is, it can be hard for them to get work done. Unfortunately, while they're trading 1-for-1, Blue Team is also picking up turrets. And Yasuo on Talia. Talia's looking around, trying to stay mobile here. She's doing good damage to him.
And there is a heal to just barely stay alive. Yasuo on top of Tristana. Taliyah going down with a flash. There's great movement from Yasuo. Tristana forced to use that stopwatch there, and now it's a 3-on-2. Now it's going to go the exact other way. Cannon, Morgana not quite able to land the buying, and Kayn is able to jump to Tristana after she jumped away. Tristana is out.
She's got no, it's not she that's got the GA, it's a Kayn that's got the GA. He's got no fear whatsoever. Should be able to continue to just push this in. Go ahead and finish your casting, sorry.
Absolutely one. There is a nice binding, but it's immediately cleansed. They're able to keep on going. That was a 4-for-0. And I think we are probably going to see a very, very strong push here. They've got about 15 seconds before anybody can come back. 2 inhibs down, minions on the tower. The only one that can defend is Ahri, and Ahri is not in a very, very good position to stop this. I think we are probably seeing the end right now.
Yeah, that Nexus turret does not look like it's going to last for very long. Raylet coming to join the team. He isn't even needed for the team to win the rest of the game for him. Double Nexus turrets will be finished off. There is 3 members up. Lighthouse spawning in a couple of seconds. Going to get one trade back. The golden Raylet goes golden on that Echo. Can he escape? No, he takes the fountain turret. The fight goes in onto 4 members. Cannon ults. They're going to try to get for the ace, but the game is already over. And that is Miscommunication finishing it off. Peach is doing the best that they can to try to hold on, but it's just not enough. 38 kills to 27, and what a crazy snowball of the game from Miscommunication.
Definitely so. We saw blue team just eternally the aggressors. Echo continuously diving Ahri. We saw Kayn and Yasuo and Thresh all doing tower dives under the enemy turret as early as, I want to say, were there a couple of level 4 or 5 dives there, I think. They were very, very early in the game. Blue team, almost everyone with the exception of Malphite, in the enemy's jungle in the first few minutes of the match. It was a very, very aggressive one. They started getting a couple of picks. They took down towers. That allowed them to start snowballing.
All right, we're going to roll through the MVPs and honorable mentions. I don't know when Peach is going to leave the stream, so I just wanted to say very quickly again, guys, check this streamer out. She's fantastic. I love to chill in her stream when working on graphics or post-stream myself because she streams a lot later than I am. And then I did want to compliment her as well on the team overall. When you look at the rest of her team, 8 deaths, 11 deaths, 9 deaths, 6 deaths, they died a lot because of the aggression that was coming out from Miscommunication, but it's 4 deaths on the Ahri. I mean, one of the things that you can do to really help your team if your team is slowly losing is just to not die. At least having one person up that can wave clear, like an Ahri, is going to be a big, big thing for your team. So I had to throw that compliment out for Peaches for that. And the rest of you guys, thank you for coming out and playing Peach. Have a great one. I don't know if you're going to try to play any more games, especially tonight, but would love to have you back anytime in the future. As always, guys, go and throw her a follow if you're interested in post-game streams. And actually, you can just stick around because I'll probably raid her channel. I've raided her a bunch of times already. All right, true honorable mentions and MVPs. Let's go through these. If you want to start for the losing team, I'll take the winning team.
Sounds good to me. Team Peaches, honorable mention, definitely going to Lighthouse. Played a very, very good Tristana. Tried to sit back, stay nice and safe anytime there was a gank. Jumping away, usually in a very, very good time frame. Seemed to have very good awareness. Ultimately played a very, very good Tristana. MVP has got to go to Catinator. Catinator was all over the map. Catinator made a lot of really good pushes. They really tried to help support the lanes, even as the lanes started to struggle, and came in and made a number of great turnarounds with the use of the ultimate. All in all, great play from Catinator.
Yeah, and this guy, as you can see, really shows up. This is his second, well, he got honorable mention earlier. This just player overall is one to keep your eyes on if you come back to the stream in the future because he is just so good. In the future, I'd love to see a Lighthouse versus Raylick mid lane do-off because I know how well Lighthouse does. And obviously he gave it that position, let Peach take over it. He instead going on to the AD carry role, but he is a mid laner at heart, and that's one that I'd love to see that pairing for the winning team, the side of Miscommunication. They seem to have gotten it together. Maybe they were able to use that name just to kind of make us question whether or not they were truly miscommunicating. Let me glance really quickly. All right, I'm going to give honorable mention to Tyrone. And the reason being is that despite having a real struggle in the early game on that top side, he was down a ton of CS as well as just overall seemed to be having a rougher game up there, trading kills against the Kennen. He was eventually not only able to come back to pick up some of his own individual one-on-one kills, but he built tank AP. So you can see there that he was looking towards the end of the game when their team had that edge to push that edge just a little bit further by adding in a bit of extra damage whenever he would go to ult, as well as have the cooldown to get that ult back up again and again so that they can re-engage every time they wanted to. And then MVP, I'm going to give over to the side of probably Aether or Rising. And the reason why is not just the kills, it's because of his heavy lane presence. Showing up in the bot lane over and over and over again to make sure that they really nailed that coffin home and they shut it down, as well as came to the top side early on when Malphite was struggling to kind of give Malphite a little bit of an edge back. Not only getting, I think, 2 kills in the early game, but kind of setting him up for eventually when he would be able to start dealing with Kennen on his own. So that kind of selfless play where you're focusing more on getting your laners ahead is a huge part of being a jungler. The pressure is my speciality. Well, Obi-Wan Kenobi. If you guys have not been here before, there are those audio clips that you can play down below so you can cheer for good plays and all that sort of stuff if you want. We are going to take a short break. The question is, it is 12 o'clock. Sir Rack, is it time for you to go to bed?
It is. I've got to be up at 6 in the morning to get ready for drink. By the way, if you are available in the morning, PM me if you would like to coordinate for what to wear on the panel Sunday. I'm probably not going to be wearing a sport coat and a tie for that one.
Okay, I may be wearing a sport coat and a tie simply because this is my stream attire, and so I will probably be wearing something similar to it at DreamHack overall.
Yeah.
The hat may or may not come out. We'll see. We'll see when it comes to certain selfies. We'll find out.
You know what? I'll go ahead and bring a sport coat and tie just in case. We can talk about that.
And again, to double check, that is on Sunday at 3 p.m. is the panel.
That is on Sunday at 3 p.m.
Quick question. Is that going to be streamed?
To my knowledge, it is not going to be streamed. I don't believe they provide an environment where it can be. Okay. I am hoping that it can be recorded. I don't know if it's going to be.
No worries. The panel that I did at DragonCon could not. I've maybe been able to stream on my phone, but usually it doesn't. Either way, if we can find a way to be able to stream it for you guys to watch, fantastic. If we can't, we'll try to record it. If we can't, that just means you guys got to come to the cons and hang out with us. Get some selfies. Come and chill with some amazing casters. Thank you, Rack, for coming out, being a fantastic caster, joining us, and for spending that time, as well as if you ever want to play League of Legends, this is a great place to come play. Guys, seriously, go and follow him. I'm going to drop that link once again in the chat. Again, I've been hanging out on his channel for a lot of this week.